In this video, we're going to cover the poem Night, an overview of the poem, content analysis, language and diction, and finally, the mood and the tone of the poem. Let's begin with the poem. Night by Wole Soyinka. Your hand is heavy, night, upon my brow. I bear no heart mercuric like the clouds today. Exacerbation from your subtle plow. Woman as a clown, on the sea's precincts, I saw your jealous eyes quench the sea's fluorescence, dance on the pause incessant of the waves, and I stood, drained, submitting like the sands, blood and brine coursing to the roots. Night, you reigned, serrated shadows through dark leaves, till bathed in warm suffusion of your dappled cells, sensations pained me, faceless, silent as night thieves. Hide me now, when night children haunt the earth, I must hear none. These misted cells will yet undo me, naked, unbidden at night's muted birth. Overview of the poem. Night by Wole Soyinka is 15 lines, 5 stanzas of 3 lines each. The poem Night, written in tercets, has the rhyme scheme ABA, with the first and third lines in each stanza rhyming. The poem is focused on the nature of the night and portrays the shades of influence that night has. Night brings sleep. You see that in lines 1 to 3. Night provides cover for agents of evil. You see that in lines 10 to 13. Night also serves as a refuge for those who are haunted by their enemies. You see that in line 14. Night is characterized by fear, darkness, and sneaky things. Night is uncertain, and the negative emotions it brings with it can grow, thrive, and unsettle you. At the same time, night can bring rest so deep that one cannot resist. Lines 1 to 3. The poem evokes different thoughts about night, such as a time in a day, a time of turmoil, and the end of life or a thing. The style keeps it open-ended so that various interpretations fit the design. It evaluates the readiness and inherent weakness of the speaker in the face of night. Considering the different meanings associated with the poem, it is helpful to point out that the writer's background as a Yoruba may have played a role in creating multiple perspectives and in-depth meaning within few lines. The poem draws from the Yoruba oral traditions of proverbs, sayings, parables, and folktales. Lessons about night not knowing any dignitary and night providing cover for executing evil plans are common lessons from Yoruba oral traditions. Therefore, to interpret the poem Night, my focus will be in 2 parts. The first will be on night as a time of day and the events that unfold at night. And the second will be on night as a metaphor, suggesting a deeper meaning to the poem. Night as a time of day. The first stanza of the poem Night describes night as a person, and its role is to induce sleep with a force that no one can resist as it comes heavy upon the brow with a subtle plow. The choice of the words mercuric and exacerbation shows that upon night's hand, sleep is irresistible, and the coming of night makes it worse and more difficult to resist. Therefore, the speaker falls asleep, yielding to the power of night. In stanza 2, the speaker likens himself to a woman as a clown, connoting the state of innocence and untouched beauty, protected from the happenings around by the shells from where she observes night's jealous eyes quench the sea's fluorescence. In other words, night also affects nature and makes the sea's beauty vanish, leaving nothing but the pulse of the sea and the darkness of night. The choice of the word woman suggests the weakness of the speaker against night. Even though the speaker is present at the sea, he can do nothing about night but watch as the shimmering light of the sea grows. Stanza 3 continues by describing the effects of night on the speaker. As night overshadowed the sea, leaving the pulse of the waves, the speaker submitted to the power of night. The expressions submitting like the sands and cursing to the roots suggest that the speaker has totally given in to night. The speaker continues to express his perception of night in stanza 4. Here he sees night as casting shadows like saw-like teeth through leaves that have become wet by the action of night. The leaves now appear covered in spots, some lighter and some darker than the original appearance. This, the speaker says, pained him. Then he goes on to express that night makes things faceless and their identity obscured, such that you cannot tell a place in the dark, much like what it was has been stolen. The expression "silent like night thieves" describes how the effect of night creeps up at you without any notice. The expression compares the act to that of night marauders. In the end, the speaker expressed his fear of the night, pleading to be hidden when night children haunt the earth. Stanza 5 also depicts night as a refuge, a time that provides covering and safety from evil and evil perpetrators. The events of night, besides the darkness and distortion of vision, include loss of consciousness in sleep. This lack of alertness the writer speaks of in lines 14 and 15. These misted cells will yet undo me, naked, unbidden. Night as a metaphor. The alternate interpretation of the poem Night by Wole Soyinka is to view the concept presented as a metaphor. Night as danger, a time when danger lurks, or a place where danger lurks. When reviewed in this sense, night describes a time or place of turmoil marked by oppression and violence. The fear and vulnerability of those captured by night are expressed in the poem. The speaker begs to be hidden from the night children as they hunt them, and he fears the misted cells that threatens to undo him. Wole Soyinka uses metaphor of night's effect on men, causing men to sleep with no resistance but quiet resignation and submission to describe the positions of the people in power and those they oppress. The expression "I bear no heart mercuric like the clouds today" explains that the writer's heart is not resistant to the force of night and its intentions are predictable. Unlike the clouds that can easily change shape, or like Mercury with a high tendency to change state, rather the speaker simply succumbs to the force of night for fear, he says, he does not dare. As a weaker person, woman, protected as a clam, the speaker watched as night quenches the sea's fluorescence. The sea's crescent is viewed as life or the place where life happens. However, the jealous eye of night breathes darkness into the space, lasting such that the pulse is undeniable. The effect of the darkness that night, the turmoil and violence breeds, drains those affected, and as the weaker ones, they submit without any resistance. Oppression, violence, and turmoil creates trauma, something that darkens the view of life. The sensation of the effects of oppression hurts. The actions are rained on the weaker people of the society and come faceless that you do not know who to hold responsible. painful experiences are unplanned and creep up on people. This effect is expressed in stanza 4. In stanza 5, the speaker begs for safety, to be hidden from the violence and oppression of power and from those who work for the faceless controllers. This the speaker needs could save him, but may also undo him, as these dark and evil things that come with night come unannounced. Mood and tone of the poem. The mood is anxious, yet reflective. The speaker shares his worry as night approaches, speaking of his fear and the desire to escape the dangers that lurk at night. There is also the depiction of vulnerability as he speaks of his inability to dare to resist, and the fact that despite his efforts to hide from night's children when they hunt, he will still be undone. This depicts despair, sadness, and hopelessness. The tone is generally sober, a quiet resignation to fate. Language and diction of the poem. Night is a soliloquy. The speaker shares his views, fears, and desires, speaking to himself more than to an audience, yet hoping that someone is listening to help him escape. It is obvious by the choice of words and expressions that the speaker feels powerless and crippled by the darkness and ugly events that accompany night. The language is modern, rich, and evocative, capturing a sense of powerlessness and hopelessness. Wole Soyinka's use of imagery paints vivid images in the minds of the readers. Do you have alternate interpretations to the poem Night, or do you wish to add to what I have given in this video? Please let's hear from you in the comment section. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.